And it's the dumbest bill in America, and it is, ready for it? Okay, it's a balloon release ban.
Ah, my favorite pastime.
So, if you like balloons, and your balloon has helium in it, and you release the balloon, guess what? It's
Civil fine,
it's
baby.
a $250 fine.
$250. And you know who the intended consequence of this? That's like kids, man.
By the way, you have to be 13 years of age, I think, or older. I think that's right.
Okay, they did put that in there. Okay.
But you're still a kid. It's hello, Mr. 14-year-old. Here's a $250 citation because
you accidentally released a balloon.
You accidentally released a balloon. Well, according to Kai Hagen of Frederick, Maryland, he's a councilman in Frederick County, Maryland, who put the balloon ban in Frederick. He put the bill in, 6-7 months ago. He said what actually has to do with the intentional release of balloons.
How do you define intentional?
That's exactly right. I mean, what is an intentional release? I mean, did you intentionally release that? Okay, here's the fine.
You're going to interrogate them, sit them down in the chair. So why did you release the balloon?
Yes, exactly. And in Frederick, Maryland, there's this article that came out, and there's a satirical Facebook page in Frederick, Maryland that opened up, which basically makes fun of this proposed balloon ban. By the way, the balloon ban did pass in Frederick, Maryland. And it was, I think, the third, because initially there was one in Queen Anne's County, and then there was another in a second county, and then Frederick County. And then guess what happened? Then the state of Maryland.
The state in bipartisan fashion.
So the state of Maryland, the state of Maryland, there are a couple of delegates that put a bill in to ban balloon releases in the state of Maryland.
Say no to fun.
And we actually have a clip of one of their supporters coming forth in the actual hearing whereby they were testifying why this is such a great idea. And here is the clip.
It's been a 3-year project for me. I got nowhere until Jay was able to get Queen Anne's County to go, and then Wicomico County, I was able to get that to go, and then Frederick just came out of the woodwork. And I will tell you that last week when we spoke at the Senate hearing for a similar bill, that we were told by the Anne Arundel County Senator as well as Montgomery County Senator that they are proposing legislation as well. So this is the bandwave. We got to get on it, and this is a great bill. So thank you so much for supporting it, hearing it, and thank you for your consideration.
So those are the key words.
Of the century.
It's
this
the
is
band
the band
wave.
and we need to get on it.
It's the band wave.
Oh my God!
Because
Mark.
we're so woke, we must ban things. Ban.
Do you have any ban bills you want to put in your on your side job, Mark? Because now's the time, Mark. We got to get on the bandwagon.
I know. We have to think of some ban ideas. Just because.
Can we ban banning?
That's right. Well, we probably would get lots of bipartisan support for banning something because that's the thing.
That's the way to get bipartisan. This thing is bad. Let's get rid of it.
It doesn't require any thinking to ban, right? Because we can basically make up anything.
Yeah,
and
you're
say,
not.
It's causing climate change. I want to ban it.
Look at the straw ban. They're not responsible. They can put the straw ban in, it can pass, but you're not responsible for figuring out how businesses and places that, rely, or special needs people who need straws.
Well, you are responsible because if you ban it, you won't even be able to have it.
Yeah, but they don't have to come up with the solution to help, bridge the gap. They don't want to
create the solution. That's the key.
And to help bridge the gap for businesses.
Just like the other conversations that we've had about, Greta Thunberg and others. It's like innovation is the answer, right? Not banning innovation. So if you have a balloon and the balloon doesn't biodegrade when it hits the ground or the water, then you know what? Create a balloon that does, and then that really truly does biodegrade, and then tell the whole world about it. And guess what? Everybody is going to want that balloon.
Especially
Imagine
if you
that.
can do it cheaper.
Yes, because exactly. Yeah. And by the way, this hearing went on for quite some time in the Maryland House of Delegates.
Talk about balloons for an hour.
Talking about balloons, of course, and basically how woke they are and so forth. But they never, in these hearings, ever talk about the fact that we actually have a solution where you don't have to ban the balloon. You can just have a balloon that still has helium in it, but goes up in the air when you release it, and eventually when it comes back down to Earth, it biodegrades, and no one is hurt whatsoever. Yeah. But they, of course, there's a lot of hyperbole in this, right? We've seen thousands of balloons in the ocean, and and fish and so forth. By the way,
yes, that is a problem,
and it probably legitimately is a problem. So instead of banning, then why not put a bill in that provides some sort of economic incentive to innovate?
Also, Banning balloons now doesn't deal with the issue that already presides. Like, if there are thousands of balloons in there, just because I snapped our fingers and said no more balloons doesn't mean those balloons that are in the ocean go away. You know, there's already been decades worth of environmental damage
And
done.
there are groups that go out there and pick the balloons up, and sometimes the balloons find themselves on the beach. And so yes, but here's what I find crazy is I'm sure this individual is legitimately concerned about the balloons.
Of course.
But there's nothing we can't ban in the name of climate change if we start down this path.
Yes.
And by the way, here's what the bill says. A person may not knowingly and intentionally release or cause to be released or organize the release of a balloon into the atmosphere. Not balloons, a balloon.
This is that state of emergency abuse concern that they have in D.C., a lot of Republicans do when it comes to climate change, is that they're worried that, you know, and certain Democratic candidates in the debates really early on actually said that they would do this, and that is basically that they would take climate change, they would declare a state of emergency, and they would use climate change as a vehicle to pass a lot of their, or not pass, just straight up legislate their
all their bans.
their agenda and their bans.
Their
and
bans. That's all they have.
Their social engineering.
Yeah, they all they have is bans. They don't have solutions, real solutions. So of course they're gonna say, oh no, Mark and Garrick, we do have solutions because when it comes to energy, we have solar as a solution, and of course,
God, what are you doing with all the
panels
old
when they're not being used?
They
right,
go in landfills.
They
They're
go in
not
landfills. So it's not renewable, guys, and it's certainly not biodegradable.
Wind turbine sheets, those propellers that spin, those things aren't biodegradable, and they got to be repaired, I think, every year.
But exactly, and this is an easy one, right? A balloon release ban is an easy thing not to do because you just say, create something that's biodegradable, guys.
Yeah.
We can figure this out. I mean, if there's anything we can figure out, this would be it.
Laws are only as good as A, people willing to follow them, and B, people willing to enforce them. And I can't see a law banning balloons being particularly effective because, first of all, if you let go of a balloon, there's got to be a cop within some reasonable distance to see it happen, and he's got to be able to point to you and say you did it, and then find out that it was intentional versus, as a kid, sometimes, man, the balloon just slips out of your hand.
It does,
It just does.
In fact, that same individual who was testifying for the ban of balloon releases, she said, sometimes I drive by new car dealerships and they use balloons all over the place for promotions, and sometimes those balloons get released. And in those,
that wouldn't even be subject to this law.
Because it's not intentional.
It's not intentional. God, sometimes, you know what? We got this issue and we want to solve it, so we're going to do it in intentional circumstances. I don't know a lot of people who are like, oh, I got this nice balloon here. Let's just let go of it, First of all, I like to take it home, probably suck the helium out of it and make the funny voice for 5 minutes, because what else do kids do? It's stupidity.
It is stupid. It is. So we have a local TV station talking about the ban. It's a real quick clip, and here it is.
You might want to keep a grip on those balloons at your next party. Some Maryland state lawmakers want to make it a civil offense to intentionally release balloons into the sky. The fine would be a lofty $250. Now, supporters say balloons cause all kinds of damage when they fall back to Earth by fouling up the waterways and hurting livestock and wildlife. The bill's sponsors emphasize their legislation would not target children who let go of a balloon.
So there you go. So folks in Pennsylvania, I just have a suggestion for you. Can you please stand on the border with Maryland and do a massive release of 20,000 balloons? And then put put something that's on the balloon that you like with a marker, and just really, tell the people of Maryland that there's a better solution, and the solution would be innovation.
I saw a tweet on, of course I saw a tweet on Twitter, but, I saw a tweet, and the city of Chicago, I think it's the city of Chicago, maybe it's Detroit or something. It's one of those northern Midwest cities, and they do every year this annual big balloon release thing. And it's so cool because it's 100,000 balloons just fly up out of the city, and it's really neat to look at. And then I saw somebody quote tweeted it, and of course, what was the first thing they were talking about? They're like, the environment. And it's of course, we can't just enjoy a good thing.
We can't. By the way, I'm going to ban, I'm going to put a bill in to ban face masks that aren't biodegradable. Okay. How about that,
Yeah, I mean, think about it. How many people have disposable face masks? I know that the ones that I've been using are.
I mean, landfills must be full of face masks by now, I would think. So they should be biodegradable or edible or something like that,
recyclable.
Or recyclable.
Edible. Edible face mask. Get the candy face mask.
Exactly.
All right, Mark.
I think it's a great idea. I mean, I'm going to mandate that, but at the same time, I'm going to ban the other ones because that's what the woke do.
Yeah.
So. And well, that's the final word for Mark and the Millennials. Thank you for joining Mark and the Millennials. This is Mark Fisher. And thank you to our millennial, Garrick Ross.
Always a pleasure.
Lots of fun. And of course, our producer, Adam Couture, and our assistant producer, Christopher Hopkins. Check us out on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and our website. See you next time.